Most of us get the creeps by seeking any kind of reptile, even if it's super tiny. They just have that way of looking at you that makes it feel like they'll just come and eat you alive. But that feeling gets amplified the bigger the reptile is. From a giant snapping turtle, a massive crocodile, to a king cobra that should not have been that big. Here are 12 of the largest reptiles ever captured by humans. Number 12. Highway diamondback rattlesnake. They say if you're looking for scary reptiles and animals, you'll probably find it all in Florida. You just will, even if you're not actually looking for them. That's exactly what happened to a couple in Bartlow in 2017. They went out birdwatching, something they had done several times before. But while they were going about their day, they saw something massive coming towards them, and they could not believe their eyes. It was a rattlesnake, the biggest diamondback rattlesnake they had ever seen. It was a whopping 9 foot long and was so wide, they even thought that they'd had eaten an entire horse. Even if it hadn't, if they didn't get away from it fast enough, it could have easily grabbed one of them, or worse. But thankfully, they were able to get back to their car before that could happen. Number 11. Giant alligator snapping turtle. Even though it doesn't seem like alligator snapping turtles can even exist in real life, they very much do. And despite the fact that their numbers are dwindling by the day, there are still some wild ones that are found in the rivers. These turtles are freshwater turtles, and researcher and rescuer Luke Pearson has been searching for these turtles for years. He'd capture them and send them to safer environments, and although he had caught several of them over the years, nothing prepared him for the catch he had in July of 2020. It was a 150-pound specimen, so big that its head alone was the size of a basketball, and its legs were bigger than Luke's own calves, making it one of the biggest, most shocking alligator snapping turtles ever captured.
Before we move on, we've got a speed challenge for you. If you subscribe to Facts Junkie and hit the bell icon in the next 5 seconds, you'll win 10 years of incredible luck. Give it a shot. It actually works.
Number 10. Gustav the crocodile. Nile crocodiles are some of the biggest crocs in the world, but when the biggest one of those starts to hunt humans, that's when things take a super scary turn. Gustav is a Nile crocodile from Burundi, Africa, and he measures at over 18 feet in length and weighs close to 2,000 pounds. However, his size alone isn't what makes him so popular. It's the fact that he's called a serial killer, because on average, he kills over 15 people every 3 months. And although he's been sort of captured several times, even shot at 3 different occasions, he's always managed to get away. No matter how many people are trying to catch him, he can somehow always outsmart them and makes his grand escape. Number 9. The Everglades Burmese python. Pythons are pretty big, and there are people that are trained to find these massive snakes and get them to a safer area. But even trained individuals like Mike Kimmel don't have it easy when dealing with supermassive pythons. In June of 2020, Mike was out looking for snakes and alligators in Florida Everglades when he came across an unbelievably large 17-foot Burmese python. He had to immediately jump into hunter mode and capture the beast. And even though he suffered a pretty nasty bite in the process, he was able to get it and euthanize it safely once he was back on his boat. He says that the snake was one of the biggest ones he had ever captured. And if he hadn't, who knows which unsuspecting human would have become its lunch. Number 8. Massive Malayan water monitor. Malayan water monitor lizards tend to stay in Malaysia, but one of them ventured out all the way to the shore of Singapore and pretty much freaked out everyone that was there, and for good reason. This lizard was a terrifying 10 feet in length. Even though it was trying to mind its own business, being there wasn't safe for it or the people in the area. These lizards will eat anything, even your pet rabbits, without a problem. So the authorities were called and the lizard was removed to a safer location. But since then, every time the people see something scary coming out of the waters, they can't help but wonder if it's the return of the massive lizard. Number 7. Unextinct Galapagos tortoise. Since 1906, it was thought that Galapagos tortoises had gone extinct because none of them had been seen in over 100 years. But that was proven to be false when in 2019, researchers came across a 6-foot-long, 600-pound female just cruising around the Fernandina Island in Galapagos. They believed that she is at least 100 years old and just happened to survive when the others died off, since these tortoises are expected to easily live up to 200 years, and she has like half of her life remaining. They believe that this massive tortoise could be the key to making sure that the species lives on. Number 6. Yellow anaconda in the caves. Working in caves is scary enough. There's almost no natural light. You're dealing with limited oxygen, and the last thing you need is a giant yellow anaconda to come and make things even worse. But that's exactly what happened in 2016 in the cave of Altamira in Brazil. Workers were hard at work and had to do a controlled explosion in the cave, when from the rubble, a huge 33-foot yellow anaconda emerged, and it was very angry. The 800-pound snake was so hard to capture that they had to use an excavator to get it away from the people. This one has to be one of the worst surprises to get at work ever. Number 5. Uninvited king cobra. Most people are wary of strangers knocking at their door, but what if the stranger wasn't human, but an enormous 8-foot-long king cobra? Well, that's exactly what happened in 2017 in Malaysia. The massive king cobra was hiding in the family's outdoor shoe rack, which is a common thing to have outside your home in the country. It slithered out and tried to enter the home, but was met with a closed door. The snake waited outside for a bit just in case someone was polite enough to open the door, but when that didn't happen, it just found an open window and climbed through it like it was no big deal. The fire department was called, and although they couldn't find the snake at first, were eventually able to locate it and capture it so it doesn't break into any other houses ever again. Number 4. Komodo dragons. Komodo dragons are the world's largest lizards, with most of them measuring up to 10 feet and can weigh over 150 pounds when fully grown. These lizards simply don't mess around, but on the island of Rinca, Indonesia, these lizards are everywhere. But even then, the locals were not expecting to see not one, but two 10-foot Komodo dragons fighting each other right in the middle of a herd of people. Because of how strong these lizards are, the fight couldn't be broken up, but the lizards were separated afterward, captured, and moved to a safer location, where they can fight in peace without putting humans in danger. Number 3. Biggest saltwater crocodile ever. If you've ever seen a saltwater crocodile in real life, you know that they're pretty freaking huge. But average saltwater crocs don't even come near this one that was captured in the Philippines in 2011. This crocodile had been terrorizing a remote village for almost a month when the villagers called in veteran hunters and gathered as many people as they could to capture the massive beast. It took several days to get everything together, but when they did, they found that the croc was even bigger than they had previously thought. The beast measured in at 21 feet and weighed over 2,300 pounds. Several people had to be there to load it up onto a vehicle after it was captured. This is one of the biggest saltwater crocodiles the world has ever seen. Number 2. Leatherback sea turtle. The Philippines are no stranger to giant reptiles, which is why it wasn't surprising when in 2018, a group of fishermen came across a massive leatherback sea turtle. It was stuck on the beach in the Regay Gulf in Balaton, Camarines Sur by accidentally riding in a huge wave and getting stuck on the shore. Thankfully, it was found soon after. The Philippines Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources were called in and they measured the turtle and found that it was almost 6 feet long and over 4.75 feet wide. The beastly turtle weighed 1,100 pounds, making it one of the biggest leatherback sea turtles ever seen on land. Thankfully, this one landed in the right hands, and after the measurements were taken in, the officials released it back into the sea, where it would live a normal turtle life. Number 1. Medusa. Reticulated pythons usually like to stay far away from the cities, but in 2011, one made its way to Kansas City, Missouri. The snake was found to be at least 100 years old. It needed a home, and thankfully, a theater company called Full Moon Productions offered to take in the snake, and when it was measured, they found that she was 25 feet and 2 inches in length, and they thought that this had to be the biggest snake ever. So to check, they called in the officials at the Guinness Book of World Records and found that it was in fact the longest snake ever captured. Medusa was so big that she had to be held by 10 people for the official record photo. Now that's big. Alright, comment below which one of these scary reptiles you're glad you didn't have to encounter. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Facts Junkie, and we'll see you in the next one.